Is Ansu Fati the answer? Is he the savior of FC Barcelona? And I don't mean it like right now. I'm just saying, well, is he the future? Is Barcelona okay with Ansu Fati at the helm? Chris, I want to start off with you because we haven't started the
Nice.
conversations with you in a bit. But Chris, I'm going to pass it over to you. A through ball. Finish it.
So I think that he is the goods, man. I think he's a generational talent. We saw it over the weekend. He's direct. He's ferocious. Um, I would the thing that really speaks to me is that I think it has to be him because you can't bring in a signing and say he's the new Messi. That pressure, those boots are
Mm-mm.
too big to fill. You can even see it. I'm gonna relate it to my club because that's what I do. That's what I watch. We don't have an Eden Hazard replacement. We have four. We have Werner, Kai, Ziyech, Pulisic. That's our Eden Hazard replacement. So I think for a signing to be the next Leo Messi is too boots too big to fill. I think that's really tough. It's enough pressure for someone to go to Barcelona and perform, and you can see that with
Yeah.
a talent like Coutinho. Phil Coutinho is a great footballer. I know he's not playing well right now. I know he hasn't been the top player that we know he's been for the last 2 to 3 years, or since his transfer to Barcelona, really.
Yeah.
But it's a different animal going to Barcelona, man. You can be a really good footballer and not hit it off there and not be a runaway train. So I think it has to be someone from the academy. And this kid, he doesn't want to leave Barca. He didn't want to leave when Messi was there, even though his chances were going to be limited. He didn't want to leave now when he was hurt. So I think he is a really big piece. But for me personally, I think another big piece. I'd be remiss if I didn't say Pedri, because Pedri, I think that's the key player in this side, and probably in the next 5 years. I think Pedri is going to be an outstanding midfield talent, and I think with a talent like that, all you have to do is really surround him. Even if, let's say, Ansu doesn't make it and he flames out, if you surround Pedri with forwards who can score, I think Barcelona is going to be okay. So to me, the bigger diamond per se would be Pedri, but Ansu Fati is really key to this as well. And if he does hit the ground running, it's going to expedite the rebuilding process immensely for Barcelona.
Definitely.
Yeah. Jose?
I would say, yeah, he's the one, man. There'll never be another Messi, but just as Chris stated now, like he's hit the ground running. He's not scared of the moment, and it seems like him and Messi did have some magical moments in the sense of like just friendship and just learning and teaching him as well. Because you can tell he was very passionate, even when Ansu scored his first goal
Yeah.
and he was there. He was like super excited for Ansu, so you can tell that they have some type of connection. And just the fact that he's a homegrown player is going to make him adapt a lot easier to being the man, especially since you're homegrown. The fans are behind you. Even when you go through these cold streaks, the fans are not going to bring up your contract price up. You know, like it's different when you're like a transfer player. And the only types of players that could possibly replace a Messi at Barca are world-class players in the likes of like Mbappe, Haaland, but they still have to win. So that's another thing. Like you can come and be a world-class player and be a generational type player, but if you don't win domestically or championship, you know there's gonna be a lot of pressure there altogether. So I would say he's definitely the one. To Chris's point, also Pedri, Gavi. I think there's even a few other players like Nico, Blade as well that are pretty good players that we should see how things turned out for them. And but overall, I would say that Ansu Fati is definitely the one for us right now. And his game is going to evolve. He's very clinical at the moment too, so it's like it's impressive, like for his age, how clinical he is. So he's probably going to just end up getting even better at reading the game. And as he reads the game better, he's probably going to rely less on his athletic abilities as well, because he's just a lot smarter in the head than anyone else in the pitch. But
Yeah. Yeah, and right now he can get away with relying on his physical abilities because He's 18. Granted, he's coming back from a pretty serious knee injury, but he can rely on really that physical ability, that speed, that power, that acceleration. He can rely on that. But as time goes on, he most definitely has to evolve, and it looks like he will. It looks like he will. We'll look back 4 years from now and say, okay, well, Ansu Fati when he was 18, 19 was one type of player. Right now, this kid's incredible. Hopefully, wishful thinking. That is how it'll go for him. But I'm gonna take it a little more simple here because he's an excellent player. We know what he does on the pitch, but I don't know what it is. I see something in his face that he's just so confident all the time. This kid is so confident. He's so relaxed. I rarely see him make any gestures facially where he's like he's on edge, he's nervous, he can't control his emotions. The only time where I really saw him where he couldn't control his emotions was when he returned from his injury like 3 weeks ago. He couldn't stop smiling. And that was just wholesome. That was beautiful. And then he goes on and he scores a goal and he celebrates it so passionately. His family was there. Beautiful moment. But there's just something about him. There's something about the aura that Ansu Fati has. I don't know. I might be looking a little bit too much into this, but his birthday's on Halloween. So he's definitely... that's obvious. It's a bit of a joke. But he's special. He's a very special player. And I honestly feel that as soon as Ansu Fati scored that first goal and Lionel Messi gave him that big warm hug, that was symbolic because that was Messi saying, this is your team now. This is your team. Granted, we had no idea that Lionel Messi was going to leave in the way that he did or at the time that he did, but it was symbolic. This is your team, Ansu. You will be the number 10 at some point. You will be the idol for millions of kids around the world or millions of people around the world. You'll be that number 10 for Barcelona. That was symbolic. And of course, we all know what he can do. We know what he can do. We know that he's an incredible, incredible player, but I think that it comes down to that confidence that he has. He's very close to his family too. So he won't be distracted by certain things that, example, Ousmane Dembele might be distracted by, or other players, maybe Neymar or stuff like that. Two incredibly talented players that I just mentioned, but these are things that are true. They get distracted. I will say this though. I feel like to an extent there was a lot of pressure put on Ansu Fati very early on in his career, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of things that will go wrong for Ansu Fati, but it comes down to how he can really fix certain situations, how he deals with certain adversities in certain situations. So I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be fine. I think he's shown that even after 9 months of not playing, he still has it. And if he can ball, that's all that matters, because he up here he looks like he's okay and he's close to his family and stuff like that. So I think he will be just fine. The future is bright for Ansu Fati, and if I had to make a prediction, I think that he's gonna live up to the hype. I don't know if he's gonna be Messi level, and I know in the beginning, before we started recording, I said I wasn't gonna compare them much, but I mean that's the benchmark, right? That's who he kind of. Unfortunately, I know it's man, it might be a little too much, but Ansu Fati probably wakes up every morning incredibly excited to play for Barcelona and knowing that he has this responsibility. That's the type of guy that he looks like he is.